Good morning and good evening, everyone. Based on your time zone, welcome in Salesforce FXR. And today topic is Marketing Cloud Email Studio, and our speaker is Saurabh Singh. My name is Amit Chaudhary. I'm the founder of the Salesforce FXR and the co-organizer of the Farminder Salesforce Developer Group. So let me hand over to Saurabh.
Yeah, thank you, Amit. Hello, good morning and good evening, everyone. My name is Saurabh Singh. I'm a Salesforce consultant. Let me just actually go to the next slide and we can start from there. So I'm a group leader for Gazipad, the B2C marketers group. I am 12-time certified Salesforce application architect, and I've been part of Salesforce ecosystem for close to 6 years now. And today's topic, as Amit said, we'll be talking about Email Studio. Uh, you know, in terms of functionality, what it offers and what we do with Email Studio within Marketing Cloud. So I'm expecting some of you already have some understanding of Marketing Cloud as it's more as a bouquet of different products that we have within. So, if you think of Marketing Cloud, in in a nutshell, you'll divide it into something what we call as builder and studios. So basically, think of studios as your tools through which you reach out to your customers or prospects. And there are different studios within Marketing Cloud, such as Email Studio. As the name says, quite conventional, reaching out to your customers through emails. Then you've got Mobile Studio, which opens up the channel for you to reach out to your customers through SMS as well as push notifications. Then there is Social Studio, advertising, not basically advertising, but then, measuring or monitoring social interactions and then responding or serving to your customers. Then you have Advertising Studio, which is more about, how can you push your subscribers into advertising using Marketing Cloud as a platform. And then the second part of Marketing Cloud, as I said, is builders. So these are the tools which you utilize in order to reach out to your customers through that channel. So you've got, content builder, which would help you create those, personalized or interactive, email templates or SMS templates or notifications. Then you have Journey Builder, which is another tool that you use to reach out to your customers one channel or maybe combine all of these channels together. um, so basically we are going to pick one of those studios today, which is Email Studio, that I'm gonna start with and talk about the functionalities or the features or what it offers to you as a customer or as a company. And any questions that you have, you can post it in your chat. And for the last 15 minutes, we'll go ahead and pick all of those questions and answer you. So I can get started now, actually, with the Email Studio. So the Marketing Cloud Email Studio, as I said, it's your tool which allows you to reach out to your customers using those conventional channels, which is, of course, email. When you think about digital marketing, one of the prominent ways of you reaching out to your customers or something which has been in the existence for very long is email. And that's the product that we're going to talk about. It was called Exec Target initially, and then Salesforce acquired it, and now it's called Email Studio. Uh, Marketing Cloud as a Salesforce as a company has two different products in terms of reaching out to your customers through email. There's Pardot, which is basically B2B, and then there is Email Studio or Marketing Cloud, which is B2C. So when you think of Marketing Cloud or Email Studio, we are talking about B2C customers as your intended recipients. Um, Now, the agenda for today will basically start with subscribers. That what are subscribers in Marketing Cloud, uh, and how do we define them? And then we'll start talking about a bit about data modeling and segmentation. That how data is basically stored in Marketing Cloud. We have two conventional or two approaches. The way you store data in Marketing Cloud, there is list, and then there is data extension. And then we'll obviously talk about the difference between these two. So you know that when you are implementing or going to use Marketing Cloud, how do you choose between using a list versus data extension? And then we'll talk about send management or a flow, that when you're trying to execute an email from Marketing Cloud, how would you go ahead and execute, and the different screens that you get in the process. And then we'll talk a bit about tracking, when you send an email, what happens, and so on. So this is the agenda for today. And then, if there is something which is not covered in the agenda and you have questions, we will still try and answer those for you. Okay, so when you log into Marketing Cloud, and you land on the Email Studio page, or you navigate to Email Studio page, you see a screen like this, which is basically your overview tab, as you may call it. On the overview tab, you are looking at all the campaigns that you have created or are scheduled to be sent, as well as the campaigns which you have scheduled to be sent in the future. So as you see, there is in the screenshot 2, there is past and there is pending. So past is something which you've already sent, and pending is something which is scheduled. There are some options to customize the overview screens, but then it's not as great as Sales or Service Cloud. So you don't have a lot of options when it comes to customizing the screen. Then in the screen, on the screenshot 3 basically that you see in there, that's your navigation menu or navigation panel for Email Studio. And we'll just go over some of them. So like overview, that's what we were talking about. And then you've got content. Now that's where your email templates live. Remember, in order to create email templates in Marketing Cloud, you do not use this content tab. We have something called content builder in Marketing Cloud. That's what you use basically when you want to create and make changes to your template. When you go to content tab here, maybe you're just trying to find the email template that you want to execute or send to your customers. So that's pretty much this one. Then you've got subscriber tabs. This is where all the magic happens on Marketing Cloud, Email Studio. So you have all the settings related to subscribers, list, data extensions, relationships, and so on. So we'll see that in practical. Then you have interactions. That's where basically all of your definitions that you have for sending emails are saved or accessed. Then you've got A/B testing. We'll talk more about A/B testing in a while. Then you have tracking. So when you execute an email from Marketing Cloud, all the data related to that send operation, like how many people clicked, how many people opened, and so on, is basically stored in the tracking folder. And then you have the admin tab, which is more of configuration related to Email Studio, that you can make changes from name to name, your IP, sender profile, delivery profile. All of that setting is available in the admin tab that you can change. From there, if we go to the next one, which is basically talking about subscribers. Now, this is an important part, in Marketing Cloud, because this is the heart and soul when it comes to Email Studio, that what are subscribers and how do you store them or access them in Marketing Cloud. So basically, a subscriber is anyone, you can send an email to, and then the collection or a group of those subscribers, you'll call it as a subscriber list, or in Marketing Cloud, you'd call it as all subscribers. Now, in your subscriber list, you have subscribers who have given you a consent to send marketing or commercial emails, as well as the customers who at one time maybe have given you consent to send email, but then they have, let's say, opted out of your email communications at this stage. So in your all subscriber list, everyone that you have sent from Marketing Cloud once, at least once, they are automatically added to Marketing Cloud all subscriber list. Now, all of these subscribers further. So when you think of subscriber list, or subscriber, there is a few things that you need to understand. One is the email address, that since we are talking about Email Studio, so it's imperative that you must have an email address for a subscriber to send him an email, right? In Mobile Studio, that's not email address. I mean, that would be the phone number for the subscriber, or in the push notification, that would be the application ID for that customer. But let's say in Email Studio, we are talking about Email Studio as an identification for that subscriber. Uh, and then you have subscriber status, that you have various status for the subscribers, like active, which means that you can send an email. If it is inactive, you cannot send an email. There are other categories such as held or bounce as well, or user unknown, which are different categories, how Marketing Cloud identifies that subscriber basis on the email send operations. Then there is a subscriber key, which is the unique identifier for every subscriber, in Marketing Cloud. Now, if any one of you have worked on Salesforce, like Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, you know that every record is identified by something called record ID, which is either a 15 or 18 digit number. But in Marketing Cloud, every subscriber is identified by something called subscriber key. Now, there are situations wherein your subscriber key can be your email address. Um, and as well, I mean, you can keep something else as the subscriber key, such as customer number. Uh, the decision here is of course on the business situation or scenario, that what you want to keep as a subscriber key. uh, from my experience, most of the time I've seen email address as being used as subscriber key, because if you have, let's say, a subscriber identified by an email address called abc@gmail.com in Marketing Cloud, and in Salesforce, Sales Service Cloud, if you have it as connected, or probably your e-commerce system wherein you assign a customer number. And if you push that customer number as a subscriber key to Marketing Cloud, Marketing Cloud would not be able to identify these two are distinct customers or subscribers, because they both have a different subscriber key. So the chances of duplicate subscribers in your Marketing Cloud will be on a higher side, and that's something you want to prevent, because as part of your licensing to Marketing Cloud, you pay for every contact that you have in Marketing Cloud. Like, there's of course a limit for that, as well as I would say more of a legal complication, that if you have a same subscriber in Marketing Cloud with two different subscriber IDs, maybe when the customer has opted out or marked you as a spam, you still end up sending an email to that subscriber. So that's something you want to avoid. Then there are profile attributes for every subscribers. So profile attributes are probably, let's say, the information that would help you identify or send personalized communication to this customer. Maybe first name, last name, phone, city, state. Those all can be your profile attributes, and you're almost free to create as many profile attributes that make sense for you. And you can make your profile attribute as uh, public, wherein when your subscriber receives your email, he can make change to it or edit it, or you can make it a hidden one, wherein it's something that you store, which would help you to segment your subscriber data, but then it's not visible to customers to make changes to, or your subscribers, if you want to call it. And then there are preference attributes, which are basically the information which would help you control the kind of communication customer wants to receive from you. So maybe you have something called, you run two different type of campaigns. There's a morning campaign, and then there is an evening campaign. Let's say customer is okay to receive email in the morning, but then he's not okay to receive it in the evening. Or preferences can be the, that you want to receive an HTML email or a plain text email, maybe. I mean, that's quite old now, but then, yeah, just an example of a preference, that the kind of communication customer wants to receive from you. So, that's how you categorize or create your subscribers and store them in Marketing Cloud. Now, moving ahead, I'll just go to or switch to Marketing Cloud for a second and show you this thing. So I'm in Marketing Cloud, and I go to Email Studio right from here. As you can see, that I'll show you that banner once again. That's where you have the division. So see, there's email, mobile, social, advertising, web studio. You have interaction. Then there are builders. You see there's like a separation in here, and then these are all the builders: analytics, journey, automation, content builder, personalization. That's basically your Einstein, and audience builder, which is basically playing with the data modeling. We'll possibly discuss it sometime. So I'm in the email studio. I'm in the overview tab, as you see. Then there is content, subscribers, interaction, AB. I mean, everything that we discussed on the first slide. So I'm gonna go here and click on all subscribers. That's where, all of your subscribers that you have sent to in Marketing Cloud are stored. So for an example, if I haven't sent to anyone, that's why you don't see anyone listed in here. And you have the basic ID and the subscribers. Now I can create a subscribers using this create wizard or import. So I'm just gonna just create one for an example now. So that's and as you see, these are profile attributes, which is basically my first name and last name that I've created, and you can have anything which you want to. And the important information, subscriber key and the email address, I'm going to keep it same. Next. And I'm going to, let's say, store it in here just for the sake of it. And finish. So when you do so, you're basically you're creating a subscriber, and should be visible in any second. Okay, so as you see, there is a subscriber that I've added. You can see the add method and everything. So it's a subscriber that you can create. And the subscriber, as I said, they are identified by something called profile and preference attributes. So you see profile attributes here, and you see I have email address that's required and you must have it. And then I have first name and last name that these are created custom, and I can create anything else as well. Like for an example, I will click on create and I'll add, let's say, city, because it would help me personalize my communication. So I'm not gonna go into detail at this stage because it's more of an introductory class. So I have city, and you see there's a new city option added now. And how it makes difference for the customer, because when you send an email from Marketing Cloud, you must have the profile center link on your email, which allows your customer to make updates to their information. And when a customer receives an email and he clicks on profile center, he would see this information like email. So the profile attributes are this one, and then the preference attributes are this one. So you have profile management right here, and you have preference management, and that's how they are categorized on the page when they receive that email. So I'm going to go back to the slides again. Email Studio. So the first thing first, there are two methods through which you store or save data on Marketing Cloud. There is something called list, and then there is something called data extension. And we'll begin with basically list. Now, lists are the default method by which you store data in Marketing Cloud, Email Studio, or email application, you may want to call it. Now, this is the simplest way of storing data. It almost requires no configuration or setup. I mean, we're gonna see it. It's so simple to create a list. And if the purpose for that specific data or subscriber is just send to them, like you had a trade show event and you've collected 200 email addresses or more, and you just want to upload them and send an email to them, then you can use list. It's plain and simple. you create, upload your data, and simply send it. I mean, that's the whole purpose of a list. And another thing to, important thing is the only purpose of the list is to send, right? I mean, you don't store anything else in a list, unlike, the data extensions, which will come to. Um, and they use the standard profile and preference center that you just saw, which means that when an email is sent and they click on update, all the information is updated on the profile and preference center real time. I mean, you don't have to do any integration or anything. They are automatically linked. So when you send, they click on it and it's updated real time. um, the only thing you need when you create a list is or the required information is the email address and the subscriber key. I mean, that's something you saw when we were creating that subscriber as well. So those are the only two things which you need at the time of creation of a list. So basically, I'll just go ahead and give you a demo that how lists are created in Marketing Cloud. So if I go here, so you see there is something called My List. That's a folder, and as I said, you can have a folder structure, create subfolders, or rename it or call it anything. Maybe based on the type of campaigns that you run, you create separate folders for them. So Marketing Cloud offers or gives you that flexibility. So what I'm gonna do is I'll click on create. So it's that simple. When you click on create, it would ask you a name, that what you want to call your list. So I'll say um, demo list, demo_list, right? Now, the other thing to note here is when you create a list, it would ask you, is that a public list or is that a private list? I mean, if you don't check it, it becomes private. So when you say public list, it means that this demo list that I have, if I add, let's say, subscribers to it and send an email, and basically when they click on unsubscribe, it would ask them that, do you want to unsubscribe from demo list or do you want to unsubscribe from all? So that option you get because you made it a public list. But when you make it a private one, or when you don't check that box, so basically when they click on unsubscribe, they simply get unsubscribed. They don't get that choice option. So that's that one. Then there is this external key, which is created automatically, or if you want, you can just use the name as your external key. Remember, like Salesforce, when you create API names, you should not have any space or special characters in that. Good idea to keep a description. I'm just gonna skip it for the sake of demo. And I'm gonna store it in the My List, and I'll click on save. And that's it. Your demo list is created. So it's that simple, creating a list. Okay. Moving ahead. Then the other way of storing data in Marketing Cloud, we call it data extensions. And data extensions are, any one of you who's familiar with the Sales Service Cloud, you know what we have as objects in Salesforce, standard or custom, anyone. That's how data extensions behave as well. Now, in data extensions, they are custom tables. So you create them and they provide you all the flexibility in terms of what information you want to store and how you want to store it. See, if you just remember, when I was creating a list, it simply asked me the name of the list, and that's it. Like, you make it public or not, and you save it. That's it. So it's not letting me basically control that what kind of data that I want to store in the list. So everything that you have in the profile attributes, I'll actually go back here and show you. When I go back to demo list, you see there are columns which are created in this table automatically. Email and subscribers are going to be there anyways. And then these are all system fields, but then first name, last name, and city, they come from my profile attributes. So whatever I have on my profile attributes, it comes automatically here. But then I don't get to choose what information I want to store, like the columns. Wherein data extensions provide you this flexibility that you control what information you want to store in Marketing Cloud. Then you can use mscript to fetch information from multiple tables and use it in your template and so on. You also have option for advanced segmentation or personalization using data that you store in your data extension. Uh, and then data extension can contain subscriber data, just like list. So it's very similar in that part. However, list, as I said, the only purpose of list is store the data that you want to send to, wherein data extension can contain or use to store data that is not required for you for the send operation. Like, let's say you're not sending to that data extension, but you're using it to store some data which would help you run the personalization. Let's say I store the order data or all the order information for the customer. So when I want to send an email, I can use that order information to segment my customers and maybe send more personalized email, like, the transactional versus non-transactional customers. So, you can save, let's say, your product information with the image URLs and so on. And in your email templates, you can use that table or that information to refer it or send emails to. So, you know, then how do you decide? Do I use data extensions or do I use list? So, uh, we'll talk about the difference and what's common between them. So, list, any list which you create in system, any number of lists that you're gonna create in the system, they're gonna have the same attributes. As as we looked while creating the demo, there are no controls in terms of how or what columns would be there in that table. It automatically comes from profile attributes. So which means that every time you create a list, it's going to have the same column that's available in the profile attribute. At the time of import, when you import data into a list, it scrubs the data, which means it would identify the email addresses for the incorrect pattern or validations or so on. Because it treats the data as if it has to send right away. So it checks for those common validations using List Detective in Marketing Cloud. Now, since subscriber key is the primary key or the required as well as the primary actually, so it can only appear once. So in a list, you can have only one subscriber. I mean, you can have one subscriber only appear once because it's the primary key. Uh, they use the same or the attributes from Profile and Preference Center. You can add records via subscriber wizard as well. So you go to all subscriber, you click on new, and when you add the data, it would ask you, do you want to also add it to a specific list that you can do. There is another option, which is you can have restricted values in uh, list, wherein, let's say, uh, I have a question wherein there can be only two possible answers. So I can create that as two pick list values, as you may want to call it in Salesforce language. So that's possible in case of list. Now, in case of data extension, one, I mean, other than providing a lot of functionalities, one, it is very fast, because when you import the data into data extension, it does not scrub the data because it doesn't know that it's only for sending purpose, because in marketing, in data extension, you can store any kind of data. So the import speeds are relatively fast, comparing it with the list. List has a limitation, let's say that, or the recommendation that you should have up to 500K records, where in data extension, there is no such limitation. So you can almost store as much data as you want to. Since it works in a table structure, you can have different data types to store information like decimal, email, address, phone, and so on, which is not possible with the list. Now, as list scrubs the data at the time of import, the data extension scrubs the data at the time of send. So when you send, then it says, okay, so you're going to use it for the send operation. So I'm going to scrub and verify that the subscribers are there or not. It's way faster, and then It allows you to use contact builder to send or add data to. Uh, from an integration perspective, you use their extensions more often than list. Uh, and then one of the key things that I think, which is not there on the slide from my experience, or the limitations in Marketing Cloud. One, uh, list allows you to do segmentation, but then very basic segmentation, drag and drop, like filtering the data and so on. Where in data extension, you can use the drag and drop segmentation, but also if you want to do some advanced segmentation, it allows you to use SQL queries. And since you're using SQL queries, it's almost infinite possibilities that how complex or what kind of segmentations you do. Then list being a send mechanism or storing the data for send, you cannot use list in the journey builder. You use only data extensions in journey builder. So from an implementation perspective, from a best practice perspective, I would always recommend going with data extensions, because you keep your door open for almost any customization or segregation that you want to do in the future, wherein when you go with list, you put yourself into some limitations. Now, I'm gonna go and show a demo of how data extensions are created. So in Marketing Cloud, I go to subscriber tabs, and then there is data extensions. When I go to data extensions, you have something called create here. And when you click on create, you have standard data extensions, you have filter data extensions, and random data extensions. Basically, uh, standard is the object, the data extensions, or the, let's say, the object that you create, wherein you're starting from scratch and you're creating your columns or tables the way you need it to. Filtered is not a data extension that you're creating from scratch. When you use filtered, you're using a standard data extension to create a specific segmentation. Let's say I have a standard data extension that has 10,000 records, and there is a country field which is either USA or Canada. So if I want to, you know, run a filter or segment my data between US and Canada, then I use something called filter data extension. So I am defining that go to this source data extension, find all the subscriber which are matching the following criteria that you define. Wherein random data extension is also using a source data extension, and the purpose of random data extension is to do a segmentation or a random segmentation, as the name says, that out of the 10,000 I have a test to run, and for that purpose I want to send 1,000 emails. So I need 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 sample data. So basically you just go and say random data extension, give me 1,000 subscribers, and it would go and pick any 1,000 out of those 10,000s, like randomly, no criterias. Or you say 10% of the of the actual or the source data extension, so it would pick that 10%. So there's no specific criteria, it's just a random segmentation. So standard, and I'm gonna say okay. And so I'm creating from the new. There's an option create from existing. When you select that, you're using an existing data extension, so the table structure, the columns, the data type, you kind of retain it. uh, so you want to make minor changes or something like that. So I'll say create from new, and I'll just give it a name, demo mm, 14 December. Okay. Uh, Good idea to keep an external key. If you don't, Salesforce would generate one for you automatically. Then there is, the location that where you want to store it. Then you have a question: is that a sendable data extension or not? So basically, when you say it's a sendable data extension, Marketing Cloud would understand that this would be used for purpose of sending emails. And if you don't check it, then it's just the table that you're using to store some random information. It's not going to be used for sending. So for an example, I'll just say sendable, and I'll say next. Then the second part, which is only configured at the time of data extension creation. I mean, once you do it, it's done. I mean, you cannot change it in the future. So either you keep the data retention policies on or off. If you say on, then it says, for how long do we retain data into this data extension? So you have three options. So you want to delete the individual records. And let's say I say 7 days. So which means that after every 7 days, all the records which are more than 7 days are automatically going to get deleted, right? So only the records which are meeting the criteria. Then if you say all records and data extension, so after 7 days, Marketing Cloud would automatically delete not only the data extension, but also the records. And then if you select all records, it's going to leave the data extension, but every 7th day, it would completely wipe off the, the data extension. I mean, you have this option to put it on a static period as well, like date, or if you want to reset the period every time you perform an import, so you can do that as well. So I'm gonna keep it off. Next. And that's where you define your table. So I have, let's say I say first name, and I say it's gonna be text, and as you see, there are different data types available. I'm gonna keep it text. Try and keep the length, as realistic as possible. That would ensure that the data or the performance is great on data extension and Marketing Cloud. So I'll say 30 characters. Now the primary key is, if you make it as primary, it's going to be the unique identifier for that particular row in this table, so you cannot have it twice. So first name doesn't make sense to make it required, so I'll leave it. Nullable. When you say nullable, it's like in Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, you make it required or not required. So if you check this one, nullable, so it means it can be blank, so which is not required. If you don't check it, it means it's not nullable. So it's always required on your table. So first name can be blank in cases. Now, sometime it also happens that, your email templates, they use personalization and so on. So although I'm making first name as not required, but then in my template, I use first name like dear first name or something like that. So what you can do is you can have like valued, right? And last name. So I'm gonna say nullable, and I'll say customer. So what it's gonna do is that every time a subscriber record is created, and if the first and last name customer left it blank, will automatically populate it with valued customer, like this standard. Then I'm gonna say email address, and I'm gonna keep this as a data type email address. So, and I'm saying it's gonna be my primary key. So if it's primary, it cannot be null, right? And then since at the time of creation, I said it's a sendable data extension, which means I can send to it. So I have this send relationship option. I click on it, and I'm gonna say that at the time of send, pick the email address from this record and go to subscriber key and match it with the go to subscriber table or all subscriber list, and match this email with the subscriber key. If it exists, right, make sure that we have the consent to send to customer. If it does not exist, it would add it and send it to the subscriber. So that's how it works. So it takes the email address, matches with the subscriber key. If a match is found, it checks the status and then sends it, or not send it basis on the whatever is the status. And if it does not exist, it would add it and then send it. And then I'll click on create. So I'm just created 3 attributes for now. And that's our demo 14 December, as the data extension that is created. Okay. Now, once a data extension is created, you have options such as, you can just go ahead and go to records here. It's blank. You can click on import, give a name of your file, and import it. So, as I said, we are just taking it as an introductory, so we're not going into detail for everything. So we discussed subscribers, we discussed list, and we discussed, data extensions and the difference between those. And we're gonna go ahead and talk about the send management. So there is a flow that we have at the time of send, like when you perform a send in Marketing Cloud. So I'll actually just go ahead and go through the flow and see what happens when you send in Marketing Cloud. So I'm gonna go to the content tab so that I can pick a template that I want to send to, and it can take time sometime. So I'm gonna pick this one and click on send, right? So when you click on send, basically it's should click on next. The next screen is, that's where you select your audience, that whom do you want to send it to. So you go to my list here, for an example, or the data extensions, whosoever you want to send it to. So I can say the test list that I created. So I'm gonna select test list. You can drag and drop it in the targeted box, or you can simply select, I'll just remove it so I can show, or you can just go here and say add to targeted. So any way you want to do it. So that's your targeted. And then sometimes you have scenarios of exclusion that, let's say overall I have a list of 1,000 customers, but then I also have a secondary list of 50 subscribers who I never want to send through my account. So you can keep it as a exclusion or suppression list, and then you drag and drop that one here. So at the time of send, Salesforce would see the target minus the exclusion and suppression, and then the remaining is the one Marketing Cloud is going to send to. You also have advanced exclusion options wherein you can, exclude certain domains if you want to. And I say next. Then configure delivery, the third part, wherein it's asking me, do you want to send right away, or do you want to schedule it for a later period? So when you simply schedule it, it would give you that the window and the time that you select that you want to send it to, or you can say send immediately. So I'm just gonna say send immediately for now. And then, do you want to track clicks, which is automatically selected by default, and retain the send log data as well. If you don't want to retain it, you can uncheck it. Or if you don't want to store the data into send reports, like, in your reporting, you can exclude it as well if you want to. So I'm just going to go to next here. And fourth is obviously just a review. It's showing everything that you have told Marketing Cloud about, that your targeted audience, your delivery time, or the settings, your template. So once you verify everything, you check the box and you hit the send button. See, unlike Sales Service Cloud, wherein you make a mistake, there is a recovery window. Well, there's a class that you've written there. There is a process that you've created. There is a flow that is not working. You always have a chance to come back and fix it. And because of the logic, let's say the data was updated incorrectly, you have a chance to come back and fix it or update it. In Marketing Cloud, when you hit the send button, there is almost no recovery, other than you sending an apology email that it was sent by mistake and so on. So make sure you review all the information. Just don't get into a practice of checking this box and hitting the send button. Verify that everything looks okay before you hit the send button. So I hit the send button because I'm just going to send to one person. And basically, yeah, there are validations or there are problems that I have on the email, because it's a demo account. I didn't want to send it anyways, just wanted to go through the flow. So it shows that I have some information that I must have on my email templates, which is missing, and that's why I'm not able to see. Because of the CAN-SPAM Act, you must have the profile address and the physical mailing address. On my template, it's an HTML template and it's missing that information. So that's why I'm not able to send. Okay. Next thing is basically, so we discussed the send flow. Now, in the beginning of the session, I said I'll come back to the A/B testing. See, with Marketing Cloud in Email Studio, you're getting this option which says A/B testing. it's a great option because it allows you to do a lot of testing and configuration. I mean, testing in terms of how do I be successful in my send operation. So basically, in A/B testing while it's loading, I'll come back to the slide. So it's a simple tool. The idea is to optimize your email campaign. So you can create two versions of your email template, and you send it, and the winner, or you define the criteria, and basis on the winner, you send an email to rest of those. For an example, I have an important announcement to make that I want to send on Monday, but then I'm not sure, do I send it 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.? I mean, which one would give me better results? So what I can do is, I can have you know um, audience split. Like I'll say, okay, out of those 1,000, pick 50 random people, send it at 8 a.m., and then another 50 and send it at 9 a.m. And whatever brings me the better result, uh, that would be the time for the reminder of the email. So you define it once, and Salesforce would do it automatically for you. Like your test criteria and your result, and then Salesforce would execute it automatically for you. uh, in terms of A/B testing, you have options such as you can perform your A/B test on the subject lines, the emails, the content areas. Like the content area is specific blocking a template. The from name, sometime it can be really tricky. That when I send an email, do I use sales at abc.com, or do I use promotions at abc.com? And then you also have send dates and time. Do I send it at 9 a.m. or do I send it at 10 a.m.? Those kind of things. uh, the pre-headers, like when you go to your email box, next to subject, the first line that you see on your email that you've received is basically the pre-header. So these are all the criterias. Basis on you can perform the A/B test, and basis on the winner, the rest of the emails are sent to Marketing Cloud. And the last topic which we have is the tracking. So when you send an email to an audience in Marketing Cloud, Salesforce automatically stores all the tracking information, and then that's something that is available under tracking and sends. So all the sends that you would have on your Marketing Cloud, you see all the send operations. I mean, the data for those right here, the name, the date, and time it was sent. And then when you click on it, it would show you the detailed analysis, like the open rate, the click rate, the link, every click that we have recorded on the link, and so on. So all of that information is stored right in the tracking folder. And then you can extract it if you need to use it outside Marketing Cloud or tool, or maybe build further segmentation basis on the open and click. So you send to 10,000, and then you have, uh, you know, 500 people who clicked on your purchase link. Then maybe extract those 500 and send another campaign to them with the more details about the product. So yeah, so that's that part. Yeah, on the tracking. So yeah, that's pretty much I had. As I said, it was more of an introduction to Email Studio, not exactly you know the 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 complexity of the tool itself. So yeah, we covered overview of the basic functionalities or features available in Email Studio, and then maybe in the future sessions we can pick one and go into details. But then that's something we'll see and let you know if we plan one of those sessions. Now I'll open it for questions. If you have any questions, put it on the group, and I'll try and answer it from my end.
Yes, Saurabh, thank you so much. And I'm just checking the question. One question is like someone text me that privately. It say like how to create the email template.
For creating the email template, okay, if that's the question, like how do we create the email template, we have something called just a minute. We have something called content builder. So I go email here. Okay. My mouse is, and then you have a content builder here. You go here. Now there are, let's say, two conventional options. One is you use the content builder tool itself, and you build your template within the tool by by selecting the template. Like for an example, I say want to create an email message, and then it says how do you want to create it. So let's say I'm gonna say I am a, I want to use an existing template and create based on that. So as you see, these are templates. You can it can be used as a starting source for creating the template. And then you also have an option HTML, which is it's HTML paste, which means that you create your template outside Salesforce, you copy the HTML code and paste it in this template itself. It's called HTML paste. Like technically that's how we call it, and that would generate your template within Marketing Cloud. But I strongly recommend using Content Builder, because all the templates created in Content Builder are by default responsive, which is a great functionality to have. Hope that answers your question. Okay,
So
so I
they,
had a
yeah, go ahead. You, if you want to read, you can go ahead.
okay, great. So I have another question. How is different from Pardot? Well, Pardot is something which is more B2B oriented, wherein Marketing Cloud is B2C. Pardot, works almost seamless with campaigns and leads within Salesforce. So you can have your complete prospecting life cycle, lead nurturing process, go through the Pardot email and your website. Like people coming on your website, you assign a certain score. They're going to a certain section on your website, you assign a certain score, and then they clicking opening your email, you assign a certain score, and then lead goes through that process. Wherein Marketing Cloud is more B2C oriented. The idea is it's not lead nurturing, it's more of communications, reaching out to your customers through different channels, email, social, mobile advertising, and so on. So it's more of open communications with your customer, like bulk communications and so on, wherein Pardot is more of lead nurturing. um, then I have, what are the best practices to make sure my email templates targeted for different type of email IDs? Like, okay, yeah, well, it's a bit complicated, making sure your email renders on all the different platforms or tools. It's kind of complicated, but then there are tools available out there that you can use. One, Marketing Cloud has itself integration, or very tight integration with something called Litmus. You can use Litmus to see how your email would render on different clients, and it would give you recommendations that you can make the changes to make sure it looks nice on a certain tool or platform. Then if you're using return path is also something which is integrated with Salesforce. You actually access it within Marketing Cloud. It gives you recommendation on every email client, as well as when you run the test using return path, it would tell you that these could be the possible reasons because of which your emails might not look good on Marketing Cloud, I mean on those tools. So that can be that can be a good option as well. So I mean, those are the two tools we have used, I mean I have used, let's say, from my experience, and they both are integrated within Marketing Cloud. Hope that answers your question. If not, I'll post another one. um, uh, I have a question. I mean, not sure if it's complete, because it says any best practices related. So not sure. You know, Vipin, if you can possibly rephrase your question. Best practices related to what, basically deliverability, data extensions, or anything. I'm going to pick the next question in the meanwhile. Do we have any provision for commercial ads related features here? Uh, there is an advertising studio available in here in Marketing Cloud once it's enabled. basically the idea is you are using the campaigns that you have built on on your Facebook or any other tool, uh, and you push your audience through Marketing Cloud to those advertising campaigns. So basically you're not creating or managing your campaign in Marketing Cloud, but then you're optimizing or reaching out to the customer, which is, so for an example, email is way cheaper than sending or targeting a customer through advertising. So if I have a promotion or a new product launch and I've sent about 500, let's say I sent 2000 subscribers, and out of those 400 did open my email or clicked, which is like a great percentage, 40%. But then let's say that happened, so I don't need to invest my advertising campaign on these 400 people. I would rather spend it on the 600 who did not open my email, because the other 400, they were able to get the communication. So I can push my remaining 600 through Marketing Cloud Advertising Studio to that campaign, and then it can be delivered to that campaign. So that's one of the use case, I would say, an advertising campaign that we can do. One of the other question, do we have Trailhead modules available for SFMC? Yes, there are a lot of Trailhead modules available. You have Marketing Cloud Admin as a trail as well. And couple of days, couple of days back actually, yeah, or last week maybe, I saw Marketing Cloud or Trailhead team came up with a very innovative idea, which is great, because unlike Sales Service Cloud, wherein you have a dev edition that you can sign up and use it for practice, Marketing Cloud doesn't have that feature. So they have come up with simulators, which are available on the trail, and when you click on these simulators, it would give you the feel or the experience of like you're working on a Marketing Cloud platform. So that's great. I mean, I just saw one of the batches which came like that. I hope they would come up with more such batches in the future. But other than simulators, there are a lot of modules available on specifically to Marketing Cloud on Trailhead, and I hope they would keep adding more.
Yep. One more question, like somebody pinged me separately. What is the advantage of using Marketing Cloud Email Studio over the Salesforce email template? What is the actual use case to trigger email from Salesforce by Marketing Cloud, and why I should go with the Marketing Cloud, not with the email template?
So, well, if you're talking about, I mean, because let's say I'm not super clear on the question, but if you're saying the email template from a Sales or Service Cloud, I mean, you have email templates that you can create and send from there, and then if you're comparing it with Marketing Cloud, uh, mm, you know, there's a big difference. Like the Sales Service Cloud, I mean, and again, I'm saying, I hope I understand your question correctly, but then in Sales Service Cloud, the email templates that you create, there are these are very basic templates that you can create in Sales Service Cloud, although you use HTML and so on, but then you don't have advanced personalization or dynamic template creation options which are available within Content Builder. So that's not there for sure. Plus, the Sales Service platform is not a ESP, or what we call as email service provider. Those systems are not meant to deliver your emails, wherein Marketing Cloud is a system which is specifically designed for email activities. In Sales Service Cloud, you have limits that how many emails you can send in a particular in a 24-hour period, wherein in Marketing Cloud there is no such limits, like how many emails you can send. You can send as many as you want, basis on the contract that you have from Salesforce. Like you have a yearly contract that within a year I'm not going to send more than 1 billion email. So you send 1 billion. If you go above that, you would pay overage charges to Marketing Cloud, but there is no limitation of how many emails you can send, which is not possible in Sales Service Cloud. So if you think of it, Sales Service is a CRM, not a marketing tool, wherein Marketing Cloud is the marketing tool. The whole purpose of this tool is to send email communications. Hope that answers the question, provided I understood your question correct in the first place. So another question that I have, like we have developer environment for Salesforce. Is there a way to get similar for Marketing Cloud? Unfortunately, not yet. I mean, we don't have this option available at this stage to get a development environment for Marketing Cloud. Hope Salesforce comes up with something real soon on that. But then till then, you have Trailhead, you have simulated exercises that you can do, or I wish you get on a project real soon and learn and do it there. That's how most of us learned on Marketing Cloud. Like we got into a project, got an instance, and we started learning or working on the project at the same time.
Okay. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for a great session and your time over the weekend. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Have a nice weekend ahead. And if you have any questions, so I'm sure you have the contact details or how to reach out to ApexArts for the answers.
Feel free, if you have any question, feel free to post your question on our ApexR website. We will try to answer them. Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Amit. Take care.